In this video, I'm talking about Brian Thomas Jr. and how he can break the Jaguars drought in terms of players being selected on offense to the All-Pro team. And I love BTJ. I can't wait to see him take the next step in his second season towards greatness. And if you're a Jags fan, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm going to be ramping up the Jags content. Going into July is right around the corner, which means training camp will be here soon, and then the preseason. And then boom, just like that, we are going to be September 7th with the Jags kicking off versus the Panthers. So I'm going to shoot for about 1 to 2 videos every week covering some Jags content to get you ready, get you fired up for the season. So again, go ahead and help us out. Hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you would love to see in terms of future content in the next several weeks across July. Thinking potentially just throwing out there maybe a video on what it could look like for the Jags to extend and draw but an extension for Trayvon Walker. Have a few other ideas as well, but let me know. Would love to interact with you in the comments what you would like to see in terms of Jags content. But hit subscribe, help us to hit 300 by the start of the season. But here is 4 reasons why I think Brian Thomas Jr. will be an All-Pro in the 2025 to 2026 season. Again, when you look at the history of the Jags franchise, and I've been grown up in Jacksonville, I'm in Dallas now, I'm a diehard Jaguars fan, follow them every year. We just haven't had a ton of elite superstar level players on offense. In fact, we've only ever had 2 players be selected to the first team All-Pro for the NFL. Tony Baselli 3 times in the late 90s. And then one of the all-time favorite Jags, I loved watching him all the time growing up. MJD made the All-Pro first team twice. But then you even expanded to first and second team. We've been in a big drought. We haven't had an offensive player selected to the All-Pro team since Marcedes Lewis in 2010. So it's been 15 years. I think BTJ is going to break that drought. I think he's going to be selected. And here are my 4 reasons why. Number 1 is improved play calling. Every Jags fan knows this. The Press Taylor play calling experiment the last 2 seasons was a horrible disaster. Couldn't say enough, horribles there. Was a train wreck. And so that is finally done. Peterson's gone. Cohen is in. He's an offensive mind. He's going to be calling the plays for the Jaguars. He unlocked something in Baker Mayfield that I think a lot of people didn't think existed. Many people were kind of like, is Baker done in terms of NFL, or certainly at least as an NFL starter? And then he looks like last year, I don't know, top 5, top 10 level quarterback. And he's coached with elite wide receivers, Mike Evans and Godwin as well. And then you look at our new OC, Grant Udinski. Obviously, he was the QB coach for the Vikings, but he also would have worked really closely with one of the best in the league right now in terms of Justin Jefferson. And Cohen has talked about it a bunch in the offseason, how much he loves BTJ, how much of a matchup nightmare he is, and he wants him to play more in the slot, which we're seeing more and more in today's NFL, where you have these guys dominate on the outside, which BTJ is going to continue to do, but also just be a matchup nightmare in the slot. I mean, imagine that 6'2", 209 pounds, runs a low 4.3, can jump out of the gym. I mean, no inside slot corner who's typically CB3 on a team, or even a safety coming down and helping. That's a matchup nightmare. We see this in today's NFL. You see it, think CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys do this a lot. In fact, the Vikings did this a bunch with Justin Jefferson. So I think Udinski and Cohen are going to work together to unlock a whole new level of BTJ in the slot. You're going to, number 1, and the biggest reason is you're going to have improved play calling. Number 2 reason is improved targets for BTJ. So I want us to look at the game log last year for Brian Thomas Jr., and what I really want us to notice here is look at a few, especially the first games, but even towards the middle of the season. You had a couple games where he just had 4 targets. Again, a couple games with 4 targets, a game with 3 targets. I don't think you're going to see, barring any injury, where BTJ is going to ever have 4 or fewer targets, or you should never see that in this coming season. I think it's clear that you're going to see really more of what took place in the last 6 games. So look at the first 11 games, no games double-digit targets. Then all of a sudden, the last 6 games, it's like, hello, Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, whoever was calling the plays at that point, like this guy is clearly the best option. And so they finally targeted him a ton. And look, I mean, he just dominated 105, 132, 103, multiple touchdowns throughout that span as well. And so you look at his overall numbers where he had 1,282 yards. That was number 3 in the NFL. You look at his touchdowns, 10 touchdowns. That was number 6 last year in the NFL. But in terms of targets with 133, that was all the way down to 18th. I think you're going to see a nice increase there with Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, the Jags have moved on from several guys that ate a lot of targets last year in Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Evan Ingram. Just between those 3 last year, that was 153 targets. So some of those are, of course, going to go to an uptick with Brenton Strange as tight end 1. And then obviously to Travis Hunter as well, who is going to help keep defenses honest as well. So that's going to be an incredible 1-2 punch. It may be one of the best 1-2 punches. Not the best yet. Obviously, Bengals with Chase and Higgins, in my opinion, is the best 1-2, but it's going to be up there, I believe, this coming season. Number 3 reason is going to be improved quarterback play. Look, whether you love Trevor Lawrence or hate Trevor Lawrence, the reality is, even worst case scenario, if Trevor does not improve next year, he's still right around middle of the road QB play. Mac Jones is not middle of the road QB play, which is why he's not a projected starter, which is the NFL saying, hey, you're not a top 32 guy in the league. And this is not hating on Mac Jones by any stretch of the imagination, but you're going to see an uptick with Trevor Lawrence healthy back this year. And if anything, what is Mac Jones the weakest at? Arm strength and deep ball, where BTJ is at his best. Trevor Lawrence has a huge arm. He can throw the deep ball. Not always perfectly accurate, obviously, but you're going to see improved QB play. And hey, it's not like we're that far removed from when we had a legit play caller in Doug Peterson in 2022 when Trevor was just 22 years old, where Trevor Lawrence was 6th in MVP voting for the entire league. So I lean towards, Trevor Lawrence can break out. We can see the prince that was promised hopefully this year. Maybe I'll do another video on that. Let me know what you think on Trevor Lawrence, what he's going to look like. But overall, even worst case scenario, you're going to see improved QB play. Hopefully, best case scenario, you're going to see extremely improved quarterback play. And I think Trevor Lawrence is hungry. And if Trevor Lawrence is truly hungry this year, BTJ is going to eat, and he's going to eat a lot. And so that's why number 4 reason is going to be improved route running. So again, number 1, improved play calling. Number 2, improved targets. Number 3, improved QB play. Number 4, improved route running, I think is going to lead BTJ to be a superstar this year and selected to the All-Pro team in 2025, 2026. That was the one knock against him in the draft. Some people thought, oh, maybe he's just a one-hit wonder at LSU. He doesn't have a very refined route tree. Well, guess what? In his rookie season, PFF graded him number 1 in terms of running and winning post routes, with the highest grade of any wide receiver running a post route. Coach Cohen has praised him a ton about his hard work this offseason, specifically on watching film and getting better at route running. I already talked about, I think you're going to see him more in the slot, and he's just going to be a matchup nightmare. He's going to give defenses headaches. And if he's truly going to get better and better at route running, it's going to be impossible to cover him in single coverage. It's going to be so very hard to cover him in double coverage. And it's going to be really hard to even have double coverage on BTJ, because you're going to have Travis Hunter on the other side. So I think improved route running is going to cement that. If Brian Thomas Jr. stays healthy for the entire season, I think you see him be hopefully first team, but at least definitely second team All-Pro. He's going to break the Jags drought. The Jags finally have a superstar wide receiver for the first time in a long time, and I think we're going to get to celebrate and enjoy a bunch of BTJ highlights, and that's why my stat projections for Brian Thomas Jr. Again, you look at last year, I think he's going to improve all three of the big three areas. I think he goes from 87 catches to next year 102 catches, where you see that bump up of targets. You see that bump up focus early. You're not going to see these 4 target games. I think you see him go over 1,400 yards, and I think you see him hit 12 touchdowns. So top three in those last two areas of yards and touchdowns next year. And top 10, maybe top 5 in terms of catches. And he just cements himself as, hey, he is one of the best, one of the alpha wide receivers in the league. And he starts to be in that conversation with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all these LSU amazing guys. I think Neighbors will be in that conversation, probably about a half step behind BTJ. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. Do you think he makes the All-Pro team? I would love to see your stat projections for him next year. I'll interact with all you in the comments. I'm fired up for Brian Thomas Jr. I think it's going to be an incredible season for him and a very, very fun season for Jag fans to watch what BTJ can do this year.